Of course, God bless our homeland Ghana and make it great and strong. Today is 11th May 2026. Last week we had a debate between NPP and NDC concerning some of the issues in the country. Today there's another growing issue that we need to talk about as a research desk, and also behind the evidence show we need to let the public know. In fact, today on the morning show we had a conversation with a farmer, and he raised a concern, a genuine concern within the cocoa sector across the country. In fact, what's really happening? That's the question. What is happening within the cocoa sector? If you go to the villages, the various communities, the farmers, they are really complaining. Some are saying that they have not received the cocoa beans that they sold. Somewhere even 2025, they have not been paid. Others, currently, when you send to the various shells and others, they are not paying you. So they are really worried. And in fact, they have to, looking at the economy of the country and the other things, they have to do a couple of things for themselves. We did analysis on the cost of living, and if one person spends a lot of money, how much a family of maybe 5, 4, 10, or you can name them, how are they living in their various communities? And today, it's important for us to analyze this situation, for you to know what is really happening within the cocoa sector, the cost or the debt. Who's at fault? Is it the government? Is it the individual? Or is this coming from outside our jurisdiction? And these are many more that we have to let you know, for you to know who's really at fault. You have the chance as well for you to share with us your views on how you feel about this after we have reviewed the details and everything to you. You can also follow us now on Facebook. In fact, we are streaming now on Facebook. If you go to, just search for Bullet TV Ghana, just put your comment there and follow us and give your comments and any other reactions as well. We'll be getting time and reading everything for you here. And the program is fully packed. My producers, the production team are all around, and we are going to unveil all the secrets within the cocoa sector for you. And I believe that after today, henceforth, you might be okay to know what is really happening within the cocoa sector, if it is really sick, as others are calling, because parties, NPP and NDCs, are using for their political decisions and propagandas. But what's the facts within the cocoa sector? My name is Maxwell Mensah. I'll take this when I come. I'll go to my touch screen, and in fact, I have my notice board also here. It is my TA, teaching assistant. This is a technical assistant, obviously. So I'll be doing some analysis for you to know one or two things. Don't go anywhere. I'm coming right from this. Right, so thank you for staying with us. As I told you, let's go into the cocoa sector. I don't know whether you're a farmer or any of your family or relative is a farmer. Probably they are really facing a lot of crisis within their lives. And we are here this evening to let you know all the issues within the cocoa sector. Why are we facing this? It's been a long time cocoa farmers are not being paid, and it still persists. It is still there. As I told you today, the farmer just complained. In fact, he's the secretary to the Cocoa Farmers Association also, and he made specifically that many farmers are there complaining because they are not having money. And what is the issue? So let's go to the touch screen and see. And we, as a research desk, I think early this month or this year, 2026, we wanted to find out when the issue started popping up. Then we did something to the cocoa board to get some information to understand the situation within the cocoa sector. And this is the RTI letter that we sent to cocoa board. The former president, Akufo-Addo, helped the country somewhere 2018, 2019 to make the RTI as an act that as a citizen, institutions can make a request to public information that will not affect the country in any way, so that it will help decision making of the country and also as part of development. So we use the act, which is Act 989, to request some information from Cocoa Board to know some basic information. And in fact, you can clearly see here our letterhead and everything is in touch. The date is 19th January 2026. 19th January 2026 is where we sent this RTI letter to the Cocoa Board for them to give us some information so that we can explain things to the public and everybody. Let's see the information that we requested. The annual revenue report for Ghana Cocoa Board for the year 2020, 2021, 2022, up to 2025. So we wanted to know if you come to the Cocoa Board, give us your annual report. So for these years from 2020 to 2025, all the reports for every year, give it to us for us to analyze and understand the strengths, the weakness, the growth of the sector as far as cocoa is concerned. It's very simple. Give it to us. Let us know if there's no information that would distract the peace of the country. Give us the information. 2, we also requested for annual expenditure reports for the same year. The same years, that's from 2020 to 2025. So the expenditure reports, how much the organization or the institution is spending every year. If it is 10 cedis, let us know, so that if Ghanaians are complaining that you are not paying them or the government is not paying them, then we will know how we can also channel the information to them. This is a simple information that we requested from Cocoa Board. The third one is report on losses incurred by Cocoa Board for the years 2020, 21, 22, up to 23, the same years. Tell us, are you making losses or maybe you are gaining something? This is another simple information that we requested from Cocoa Board. And to you, all the information that we requested, none of them were being given to us. So Cocoa Board deliberately denied to provide the information to us. This are information that we need, and it will not distract the peace of the country. We just want to know what is really happening within the sector. And if you look at the act, in fact, there are some procedures and guidelines and others when you request for information. But I will come to that. Let's look at the last one. Audited financial statement for the aforementioned years. So aside your losses, your gaining, your revenue, or your report, give us the audited reports. Every institution, in fact, within the public institution, you provide your audited reports. Give it to us. Let us see the strength. What are they talking about? What is really happening? That's simple. What is happening within the sector? Cocoa Board, give it to us. What is really happening within the sector? Are you making progress? What can we do? In fact, we are working for Ghanaians and all those there from the CEO. It is the taxpayers' money that they are using to pay you. Kwame Nkrumah established Cocoa Board. Initially, it was Cocoa Marketing Board, and now it's transformed to Cocoa Board. That it will supervise all the activities within the cocoa industry or sectors. So you represent the Ghana government to make sure that the cocoa as a product that we have as a country, generating revenue for the country, will progress. And if there's any problem, in fact, we are all one people. We are contributing. It is our own, so that we know how we will do it. Cocoa Board denied all this information, all this. They didn't reply our email. If you go to the back, the previous one that I showed you can see our editor. He signed, everything is in tight. But Cocoa Board denied us the information that we requested. We are not blaming them. They have not gotten back to us. We are still working and pushing. How did we get this information that we want to let you know? And it passed through a lot of things. We have worked hard for us to get the information to let you know this is what is really happening within the cocoa sector or the Cocoa Board. And some of the information are also public known, available. Others too, we got it from our sources. This is what is really happening within the cocoa sector. Now, let's start from somewhere. Let's draw our mind back to 2012 to 2016. That's the first administration of John Dramani Mahama, because we don't want to make a bias. We will have to look at the stand of Cocoa Board as at that period. That's 4 years. So if you look at that time, by the end of 2016, Cocoa Board debt stock was estimated at approximately 1.8 billion to 2.2 billion. So at least the debt of the country in terms of cocoa was maximum of 2.2 billion Ghana cedis. So that's a range 1.8 to 2.2, just a little on between. So we were owing as a country in terms of our cocoa this amount of money as at the time where John Dramani Mahama was leaving office. Now we'll be looking at after he left, those who came, the predecessors, or those who also inherited, what did they also did for the cocoa sector. They also did something. Let's look at from 2017 to 2024, the 26 billion cocoa roads. Let's look at this. In fact, if you look at how we inherited our debts, it started from here, basically. Though despite the other governments, as I cited, John Dramani Mahama and others, we basically inherited, or we started like accumulating a lot of debt as a country in cocoa sector from 2017. The most significant financial sin was using Cocoa Board as a parallel ministry for infrastructure. Now, for here, I'll just go to my board and show you when we talk about parallel. I believe a lot of people know when we talk about parallel, for you to understand. When we talk about parallel, this is how it looks like. So is it just a line or a movement like this? So they are all heading to one stage. So this is the government position line of development, and this is the Cocoa Board. So literally what I want you to understand is that if you look at government is supposed to construct the roads, as I'm talking about infrastructure. It's in the hands of government to do that. But here's the case. Cocoa Board also took it as his mandate or core value to do that. So Cocoa Board is not supposed to construct roads, but somewhere in 2017, even maybe among other governments, they did the same. Started constructing what we call cocoa roads, the various federal roads and the community villages and others. But this is not the responsibility of Cocoa Board. It is government's responsibility, because you are only supervising the purchasing of cocoa. You are not there to construct roads. It is the government's responsibility. But Cocoa Board took it upon itself to construct roads here. And this is really worrying. It is really troubling. And it created a debt within the sector. This is what happened within the Cocoa Board. So when we talk about parallel, this is what we mean about parallel, where the government is focusing at one side, and meanwhile you are also supposed to maybe concentrate on another path. You are also following where the government is channeling its energy to. So this is really what happened. And secondly, what is the violation here? As I told you, between 2018 and 2021 alone, 21.5 billion in roads contracts were awarded, far exceeding Cocoa Board budgetary capacity. So within the organization Cocoa Board, you have your budget. In fact, you do your budget, and government will make the allocation, whether it will satisfy the organization by the government discretion, whether it has money to provide what you intended or your budget that you presented to the government. So what the Cocoa Board presented to the government, the budget that it made, that we are going to spend this amount of money within 2018 to 2021. The road that they constructed, of which is not part of their mandate, Cocoa Board constructed road more than even the budget they made for themselves. So within the year, if they plan to maybe spend an amount of 1 million, then Cocoa Board constructed over 1 million, which is even above the budget that it contains all the expenses or the expenditures of the Cocoa Board. This is what really happened within 2018 and 2021. You are not supposed to construct road, but they did. Why wouldn't they create all the debts within the sector? And the result is how I'm just telling you. Now they diverted the amount of money that they are supposed to use to purchase fertilizer for the farmers. So you can see that from 2017 coming, you can see the government says that they are not giving fertilizers free. At first, fertilizer was free to the farmers and all those who are into agriculture. But the then government started selling fertilizer because they need money. Cocoa Board then needed money to construct roads. But it is not your mandate to do so. So if you are creating debt, and you must know what is really happening today, where it started from, who did that. So first, they are not supposed to create roads or construct roads, but Cocoa Board went ahead to do that. Somewhere 2018 to 2021 even coming. They are not supposed to do that. And they went ahead to spend more than the budget that they have made they made to themselves. This is one of the things that they did. Two, the 333,767 ton rollover scandal. If you look at somewhere 2022, 2023, this happened there. You must know why we are really facing a lot of menace or crisis within the cocoa sector. Within this particular year, the global market of cocoa reduced the global price of cocoa. So assuming that if 1 ton was maybe $15,000 US, they reduced it to somewhere $12,000. And here it was 2,600 per ton. So a ton, if you send a ton to outside, then they will give you 2,600. Meanwhile, at first, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It was more than $2,600. But internationally, they reduced the price. But do you know what Ghana government did, or through the purchasing of cocoa, what we did as a country at that particular time? Because of COVID-19, where the then government was using as a case study to defend the economic crisis, and also the Russia-Ukraine war, what can we do to sustain the market of cocoa? So they said that they went ahead to go for what we call syndicated loans. So you know, when you go to international markets and others, we have people who purchase, the banks and investors. So, oh, I have cocoa, give me this amount of money, give me this amount of money. We as a country, Ghana, we collected a lot of money, then we brought it into our country for development of construction of roads, of which we are not supposed to do. We utilize the money in a way that we are not supposed to do that. So in 2020, 2023, the reduction where we went for the money, the following year, which is 2024, unfortunately for Ghana, the international prices increased. But what we did as a country is that after we collected those money, we didn't send the cocoa that we have. We didn't send it there because we were not having cocoa, because the government stopped giving fertilizers to the people initially. So we were not producing much, so our production became low, of which we were not having enough cocoa beans to send it outside. So in 2023, 2022, 2023, where we went outside for the loans to buy cocoa, when the government came, there's no cocoa. So how are you going to pay the debt? Now in 2024, what happened is that internationally, they increased the price of cocoa. So you can clearly see that as a result, the global price hits 12,000 per ton. So at the time where we went for the loan, it was 2,600 per ton. So assuming that if you come to Ghana here, just one bag, let's take it as one bag. One bag was 2,600. Now, a year later, it increased to 12,000 per ton, or maybe one bag again. So this is what really happened. Now, because that at the time where we went for the loan, we didn't pay. We didn't send the cocoa beans to them. We need to do what we call reversal. We need to go and pay. So we sent our cocoa beans in 2024 to settle the debt of the previous years, 2022, 2023, open market price. So if at that time, at 2024, even though we are sending the cocoa to them, but they are giving us the previous years because that was the time we went for the loan. So you can see the amount of money that we lost in 2024. So in 2024, where a lot of countries were enjoying the increment of international or global cocoa prices, Ghana, we were still paying our previous year's debts. Because at that time, we were not having cocoa to pay for the 2,600 per ton. So when it's jumped to 12,000, this is where we use the cocoa beans that we had to settle the debt of 2,600. This is what happened. This is what happened. Let's look at the third one. The third one that we did as a country was over the decades, Ghana had a flawless reputation with international banks. So as I told you, because we are not settling, the international people or the investors lost confidence in Ghana cocoa. So if you can remember, if you can recall clearly, somewhere 2022, 2021, they were not buying Ghana's cocoa. They cited the Galamsey. I'm sure if you follow the trends or the current affairs of the country, you remember they cited the Galamsey of mercury chemicals and others. And also in terms of debts, we lost reputation. So there were a lot of factors that they considered, and they said that no, we will not help Ghana anymore. So we also lost money to buy cocoa in 2024 to 2025, and that's where we started dropping or declining as a country in terms of cocoa industry. So the banks and the international entities or the investors lost confidence in Ghana, and the result was that for this is the first time in 32 years the 2024-25 syndication failed. So for the past 32 years, as at that time, Ghana, whenever we go outside, they give us money. But because of what happened, for the first time in 32 years, since 1992, they declined, they disappointed us because they said they don't have any confidence in Ghana cocoa market. Let's look at, yes, so there's another one here, clearly, let's see. Now, how would the government buy cocoa somewhere 2024 to 2025? This is where it started. Now, government decided to make it as a hand-to-mouth. Hand-to-mouth. So, as and when government gets money, and this is where government is going to purchase cocoa. So, if government is not having money now, government is not going to purchase cocoa. So, government will go to other local bonds or other people and lobby for money. Oh, give me this money, give me this money, give me that, give me that. So, when they also decide to give it to the government, then the government will come and purchase. So the amount of money that the government will get determines the amount of products or the cocoa beans the government purchases. So it's all things being equal. This is what happened. This is what happened. 2024, 2025. I've told you John Dramani Mahamad's administration, the debt of cocoa as a country, and where we started also in 2017 to 2018 to 2023. Now we are somewhere 2024 coming. Now, aside this, the confidence is gone. They don't respect Ghana anymore in terms of cocoa business. The fourth one is record-breaking negative equity. We are talking about equity. Equity is what you have, your assets minus your losses. So if I have this phone and this laptop, my equipment on this here, I'm just selling all this. Now the losses that I will make, maybe along the way, I will make sure that because of maybe the screen has spoiled, so I have to repair, is a loss and other stuff. After that, after doing all the repairing and all those stuffs, the cost, I'll just write it down. I will go and sell the product, the asset. Then I'll subtract the cost or the expenses from that. So the equity is what will be in your coffers after deducting your expenses or your liability from the equity. So at that particular time, 2016, Cocoa Board had a positive equity of an amount of 1.8 billion Ghana cedis. So despite 2016, all the challenges that the government or the country faced, the country was having an equity of an amount of 1.8 billion Ghana cedis, meaning even if the amount of money that we have in our coffers, when we subtract our liability, our cost, our expenses from that, we still have 1.8 billion in our account. So at least we have money to purchase 1 or 2 cocoa products or cocoa beans. So this is what happened. Now, along the way, Cocoa Board became technically insolvent, meaning its liability far outweighed its assets. The first time this happened in its 79-year history. The issue within the cocoa sector is not what we are hearing from the politicians. We've seen some of the NPP people going to cocoa farming to talk to them, but this is where it started. We don't want to blame any government, but this is how it started, and they are not telling the truth. This is how we started losing the value of our cocoa sector, the Cocoa Board. That's why when we send the RTL request to them, they never reply to us. That's Cocoa Board. They never, because they know what they are doing. They know. This is what happened in 79 years. So far, the history that we have set for ourselves, we destroyed that within a year as a country. So when we talk about the amount of money to purchase cocoa somewhere in 2014 to 2025, we're not having money. We went bankrupt as a country. There's no money in Cocoa Board account to purchase cocoa. There's no money, because the investors were not giving us money. The cocoa beans that we're having as a country, we have used all that to settle the previous 2022-2023 years, the debts, the loans that we went for, and we couldn't send the cocoa beans to them. The previous year, where they increased the cocoa prices, we were paying the previous year's debts. And after that, they lost confidence in us. They dodged Ghana cocoa market. And after that, our equity became negative. So there's no money in our accounts. And a country, Ghana, where we are having 1.8 billion in our coffers to purchase cocoa, we became negative 4 billion Ghana cedis. Maybe if you don't know, this is the truth. We're having 1.8 billion in our accounts. Few years later, we became negative 4 billion Ghana cedis as a country. The next one is excessive and questionable procurement. Cocoa Board, this is what they did. The Ghana government, this is what they did. We have the jute sack. This is the clear picture of that. The jute sack. This is where we used to package the cocoa and others. I hope we have seen a couple of them. In 2024, the administration spent $48 million US on new jute sacks, despite already having over 150,000 bales sitting unclear at the port for 3 years. So in 2024, where the then government was trying to transition, were preparing themselves to leave the administration for the new government, this is another problem the Cocoa Board was facing. So in 2024, the then government or the Cocoa Board used this amount of money, $48 million, to purchase these sacks. Meanwhile, for 3 years, we were having 150,000 bills sitting at ports. 3 years old, we have not cleared them. Yet we had an amount of money to go and purchase. So the procurement, we are just doing things just like that. We get the money, we do road construction. This is not our mandate, but we have done it. We got money. Instead of us to clear this, we said, no, let's go and purchase another one. We don't care. Let's leave it there. This is what happened in 2024. Now see, the Auditor General report highlighted massive spending on non-essential administrative items. So we are talking about non-essential administrative items, things that at the top level we're not supposed to do. Administrative level, they are not supposed to do things that they were not supposed to buy for themselves. You can name them. If you remember, there was a suspicion being raised that the then CEO and others were made an acquisition of toothpaste and even spoon with a huge amount of money. I believe maybe you can remember these stories. So they were making they made a lot of expenses at the administrative level, the top level. Meanwhile, the cocoa farmers were there. They were not having anything. They go for the loan, they use the money for themselves, and things that they are not supposed to do. Cocoa Board and the then government was into it. Now let's see, number 6, what we did as a country. Neglect of agronomic services. What we did is that programs that were previously free or highly subsidized, I've already told you this, there were some things that it was free, like spraying, fertilizer distribution, extension services like pruning and others. At first, it was free. Now the government started charging. If the cocoa farmer doesn't have money, how can the cocoa farmer do all these things? Meanwhile, there's no money within the cocoa sector to pay them, even if they have a little cocoa beans to sell. No money to pay them. Where are they going to get the money to do all these things, the mass spraying and all those stuff? The government banned all this through the Cocoa Board. So they were not having, the cocoa farmers were not having all this. Cocoa farmers were not having all this. So how can they produce? We are talking about production, because at the international level, when in 2022-2023, we went for loan, we collected some people's money, but we couldn't deliver the cocoa beans, was because of production, low productivity. Then the farmer decided to sell their lands to the galamseyers. This is what happened. So there was another news where people were saying that we are selling our cocoa farm to the galamseyers. It's better to sell your land to galamseyers than to wait on the government for cocoa, because the government were not buying cocoa. And how can they also produce the beans if we are not helping them in spraying, pruning, and other things that they are supposed to do? And this yielded the decline of the cocoa production, and Ghana's production dropped from a peak of 1 million metric tons in 2020-2021 to nearly half that in the subsequent years. So a country that were able to produce 1 million metric tons of cocoa, we became 500,000 as a country, because we are not producing. The farmers were not producing. The farmers were not producing. Let's look at the next one. Failure to rationalize under the IMF. Another big issue here. In 2023, as part of the IMF bailout, the government agreed to rationalize Cocoa Board rose debts from 21.7 billion down to 6.9 billion Ghana cedis respectively. So I know you will remember this one too, the haircut issue. When it came to DDP, the government was doing the haircut, and also because at that particular time, the country was so hot to the extent that the government was trying it possible to stabilize the economy. Meanwhile, Cocoa Board was doing this. The cocoa sector was doing this. So IMF told the then government that, Master, you are spending too much on roads. You are spending 21.7 billion on roads. Meanwhile, you can use this money to purchase cocoa beans, to help the farmers, to make the spray and all those stuff, so that the government can also focus on the roads and others. Cocoa Board says, no, we will construct the roads. We will construct. But even as I speak, you can go there. Whether you can see the roads that they say they have constructed or they are constructing, with this amount of money, 21.7 billion Ghana cedis, and they use. So IMF told the government, no, because of the current economic system, you can't spend this amount of money. So they reduce it to 6.9 billion Ghana cedis. But what happened is that the previous board failed to carry out this exercise, leaving the mess for 2025-2026. IMF told you that reduce the 21.7 billion on road construction, on cocoa sector, to 6.9. Let's make it 7 billion. But they failed. They didn't. Listen. And they left all the mess to the then government, who inherited somewhere 2025 to 2026. So how can the government now pay the cocoa? This is what happened. This is what Cocoa Board and the cocoa sector previously has done to the country. Right, so that's it. That's it. Now let's look at 2026. Let's quickly run through this and see what's also happening within the 2026. I will allow you to call and share your views later. But let's look at this. We have the 2026, the messes that we have created within 2026 and what we are facing within this year. We started 2012. Yes, 2012 till now. Now the price slashed by 28.6%, dropping from 3,625 Ghana cedis per bag to 2,587 per bag. So this government decided now, because of what we are facing, Massa, we can't continue paying people 3,000 plus. The then government raised or increased the cocoa prices for the farmers to 3,100. And when this government also came, added something to it, I think 300 or so, added to 3,600 Ghana cedis. Now, along the way, the government says, no, the burden is so heavy, I can't carry. So they decided to reduce to 2,500 Ghana cedis plus. So this is another mess within this. Now, the rationale behind this is that global prices dropped 50% from 2025 high 8,000 per tons to 4,000 per ton. So in 2022-23, it was 2,000 per tons, $2,000 per tons. Now it came to 12,000, an increment in 2024. But somewhere in 2025 coming, it's decreased again to 8,000, and subsequently 2026 to 4,000. How can the government continue be paying upon all the debts and other stuff that I've highlighted to you? So this is a mess that we have in this year 2026. Now there's another one is also within the 2026. There's a collapse of PBC. That's the state-owned buyer. So the produce buying company. Now the amounts of this company, this is a government institution or the state-owned buying company to purchase cocoa. So they buy the cocoa on behalf of government, just like we have government institution into other businesses. Let me run through this, then I can open the phone lines for you to also share your views with us. Now PBC owns 60 million Ghana cedis, making 60 million US dollars, making 673 million Ghana cedis to banks, vendors, and also staff. The reason why they are not buying cocoa in 2026, one, as I told you, is that there's a mess from the previous years. So the government cannot purchase cocoa. So what the government can do is that, one, has to reduce the amount of money. So it has slashed down the 3,600 to 2,500. The second one is that the main buying company within the country, which is by the state, also is in debt of an amount of 60 million US dollars, or in Ghana cedis 673 million Ghana cedis. It is also in debt. So how can they purchase cocoa? Now, another news is that the same PBC, as of May this month, you will remember this story. Courts have ordered the seizure of PBC assets, including trucks and machinery, to pay back a consortium of banks. So the banks that it also went to borrow from them, they also came together and sent them to court. And court also decided, well, you are guilty. So what we can do is that we need to seize your assets. So the assets of the PBC, court also put injunction on it, or the court ordered that they should take those trucks and others to settle their debts. So the banks have also go to take all the assets belonging to PBC. They have to sell it for them to also get something for themselves. This is what is happening within the PBC. Now PBC owes farmers for over 9,000 bags of cocoa already delivered. Its market share has dropped from 30% to less than 5%. So PBC, now this is what had happened. The state owned. In fact, when we talk about purchasing of cocoa, it was having 30% share, and then the private buyers also. Now it has dropped to 5%. They don't have money. So all those who are depending on PBC, now the cocoa that they took from you previously, there's no money to pay, because already even their trucks and machineries, court says that they have to come and take them to settle their debts. So let me open the phone line so that you can also join the conversation. Please put the phone lines there for us to pick some calls, share your thoughts with us, and also based on the analysis, how worried are you? Tell us. The numbers on your screen, just call, and let's hear from you as I continue. So this is what's happening within the cocoa sector. In fact, it's very funny. Eh? So court says that they should come and take the assets or whatever that they have because they are owing them an amount of $60 million. You have to come for them. So if PBC is owing you, then you have to do your own calculation when you're going to get your money. Now let's look at the next one. So the next one is also the ripple effect on the farmers and the cocoa economy. Now let's look at what has happened. Poverty and debt. Farmers who delivered beans as far back as November 2025 are still reporting unpaid arrears. Many have turned to money lenders at high interest rates to survive. So the farmers that they sold their products or the cocoa beans to the PBC are now living uncomfortable life because they don't have money. They don't have money. They are going to people to borrow, and these people are also adding a lot of interest to them. How can they survive in this economy? And this is the reality of most farmers out there. This is the reality of most families out there, because they have to borrow to succeed. And if they can't borrow to succeed, they can't succeed or survive in the economy. Caller, good evening. Your name and where you are calling out from? Right, I think the call has dropped. So let's continue. Now let's look at another effect also. Now illegal mining, financial desperation is pushing farmers to sell their lands for illegal mining, which offers quick cash but destroys the soil permanently. So already I've told you that the investors have lost confidence in Ghana's cocoa because of this illegal mining. They cited that we added mercury and other chemicals that are not helping the cocoa sector. Caller, good evening. Your name and where you are calling out from? Caller, good evening. Your name and where you are calling out from? Oh, the line is not helping us this evening. So, but caller, good evening. Your name and where you are calling out from?
I'm calling from. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, I'm calling Accra. I'm calling from Katamanso.
All right.
Katamanso.
Okay, let's hear from you.
Yes, please. I think this is after people have to open up for each and everyone to know what is going on here. But we thank you very much. You this people, I think now that you make this one, so it will be clear for each and every Ghanaian. When we are about to take any decision, then we may think about it. You understand? Because a lot of things is going on that we can never and ever to know. It's hidden. So if not that you come out today, who knows this?
All right. Thank you for making that. So it's because of you. That's why we are here. And as I said, the sector is really facing a lot, and it's not today. It started way back. It's a process and a cumulative of crisis. Caller, good evening. Your name and where you are calling us from?
Good evening. My name is Douglas. Calling from Kumasi.
Okay.
Calling from Kumasi Food.
Right. Let's hear from you.
Please, thank you for your analysis. But I didn't hear from you saying either the cocoa price is going to reduce or is going to.
You're asking me whether cocoa prices are going to reduce or increase?
Or they are going to raise up.
So for what I can tell you so far, and for now, is that so far we shouldn't expect cocoa increment for now. You shouldn't expect. You should pray that there will be money to pay the cocoa farmers, and in fact, maybe subsequently we'll be adding those information to you. We'll be knowing the amount of money that the government is also pushing in, and why the money has locked. The government paid something.
I'm listening to continue the family.
Right. Thank you for calling. So as I said, it takes a lot to understand this. There's a whole lot of things that we can talk about. Now, let's look at 2026 payments. The government, as I said, the government has made some payments. In fact, let me pick this caller. Caller, good evening. Your name and where you're calling out from? Caller, good evening. Your name and where you're calling out from? Right, let's hear from you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Fred, speaking from Tasoma.
Right.
This is very educative, and I'm impressed by your presentation. And I believe that your media team should carry it on to share among all the platforms so that we, the young ones, can take this mantle on ourselves to make sure the government know what is going on, because every sector has to be. We have to break down such analysis, pick a topic like what you have done tonight. I'm so proud of you. As I sit here in my room watching you, I've been smiling throughout your presentation. God, this is very educative. You break it down for us to know what is going on in the sector. And now every individual, the youth, can now understand the reasons why there's a burden on 2026. So we have to take this one, push it out there. I think all the media should start to learn from this. Than doing all this propaganda, doing all this political games and this, it's not going to help. Because the truth of the matter is, this is the reality. This is the reality. You have to face it. You pick something. You make sure everybody gets to it. I'm proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you too. And as I said, it's because of the country. All right, let me pick my last caller. Caller, good evening. Your name and where you're calling us from? Caller, good evening. Your name and where you're calling us from? All right, I think we couldn't do that. So this is how we end for today. And in fact, tell a friend to tell another friend. There will be a repeat tomorrow. You can just watch again, and also follow us on social media handles across Facebook, X, TikTok, and others. LinkedIn, we are also there. For Facebook, it's Bullet TV Ghana. And you can follow us, share your comment, put your questions and others there. I'm not done. Hopefully next week you'll continue with this, and we'll be looking at other sectors as well. I'm so grateful for you joining and calling, and share with others also. My name is Maxwell Mensah. Newsnight is up next.